Tell us a bit more about the hailstorm. A very good afternoon to you. Of course, this is not necessarily something that we had anticipated. In having a look at the weather forecast, we were expecting some rain, some thunderstorms. What's the situation in the area now?
Can I just start with what happened yesterday?
Sure.
We actually did have a warning in place for severe storms, even though we didn't specify the exact location in the northwest, but we did have a warning for severe storms. So what you are seeing right now behind me on this satellite image here was the situation at 1200 Zulu, which is 2 o'clock local time. This yellow circle here shows the development of storms. At this moment, for instance, this was one of the storms that went past the northwest province. And by 3 o'clock, the storm had developed into such a large storm such that it occupied the eastern half of the northwest. And then it moved further eastwards, reaching Pilansberg. And this is 4 o'clock local time yesterday afternoon. And from my analysis, I can tell this one, especially this one, was carrying a large amount of hail. And then it also intensified later on by 5 o'clock, occupying the northeastern half of the country, except for some areas in the Limpopo province. So the storms were stretching all the way from the northwest down towards the Gauteng province and even reaching the Mpumalanga province. And then later on, this is 6 o'clock. As you can see, some of the storms were still intense, meaning they were still severe, carrying a large amount of hail, as well as to the south of them, which is the eastern parts of the northwest province where Rustenburg and Pilansberg are. I can interpret here as them carrying large amounts of hail as well as heavy downpours. And these are some of the pictures that we received from our viewers. As you can see, large amounts of hail, even though they were smaller in sizes, but there was quite a large amount of hail. And it was not just hail alone, it was also some heavy rainfall. Downpours were also expected out of these storms that we earlier warned of in the northwest province. And then it was also such a large storm that it covered such a huge area of the northwest province. As you can see, it was stretching all the way towards other parts of, even including the southern parts of the Limpopo province. As you can see, quite a large area was covered in large amounts of hail and heavy downpours. Some of the affected areas, as you mentioned, in Sun City, as you can see here, were affected by large amounts of hail, stretching all the way throughout the resort in the northwest province.
Yeah, and of course also that damage to property. In terms of holiday goers, holiday makers that are actually watching now, are there any other warning advisories that we can expect with regards to thunderstorms and hailstorms in other parts of the country going into the week?
Okay, I'll start with today. Today, fortunately, we don't have a warning for severe storms. We only have a slight chance of thunderstorms, which is expected at this time of the year in the afternoon. So it is a 30% probability of storms in the northeastern parts of the country, including the northwest, Gauteng, Mpumalanga, and KwaZulu-Natal. But we don't necessarily have severe storms that we saw yesterday. We don't have a warning for that. But as the week progresses, we do expect some storms to occur here and there. Especially tomorrow, we do have a watch for some severe storms in the western parts of KwaZulu-Natal. So from the Midlands going towards the coastal areas, we can see some storms popping up tomorrow afternoon over KwaZulu-Natal. Otherwise, a slight chance of thunderstorm is still possible. Differently from the storms, we also have very hot conditions over the central parts of the country, and that will result in veld fires. So we do have a warning for veld fires, but not necessarily for storms.
Thank you very much for giving us that update and taking us through what essentially have been happening in the northwest, also giving us those visuals that we saw, and of course confirming that in fact there was a warning advisory that was set out yesterday for thunderstorms as well as hailstorms. Fortunately, no one could predict that it would be to that extent, also giving some warning advisories and weather advisories for the week ahead, specifically for our holiday goers to make sure and make use of that information provided. We'll take a short break. Do stay tuned. You're watching On Point.